intimidated by the last notes. It's just that one. It was so high. It was like, oh, you know, I'm going to stop singing at that point, and just leave it to all of you professional singers in the house. And with that, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, everyone, and we welcome you to the 2024 Women Philippines WEPs Awards. My name is Inka Magnaye.
Well, hello, Inka Magnaye.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Justin Quirino. It's so nice to be with you all tonight. It is an absolute pleasure to be here with the United Nations and UN Women tonight. First of all, could you give UN Women a big round of applause? What an honor really it is to be on stage with the Inka Magnaye.
Oh my gosh, with the Justin Quirino.
Oh, stop it. Oh, stop it. But tonight, of course, we are going to be recognizing exemplary practices, embracing the women's empowerment principles here in the Philippines.
Exactly, and tonight we celebrate the transformative power of gender equality and innovation in business. We are so thrilled to honor distinguished individuals and organizations who are committed to advancing gender equality and women's economic empowerment.
I mean, we need economic empowerment in general, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we need right now in the world today. And so, especially tonight, we're going to be shining the light on some wonderful ladies and all of their accomplishments. And you know what? These efforts are a testament to our collective pursuit of achieving inclusive growth and shared success, fostering a future where everyone, regardless of gender, can thrive. And this, of course, is a very, very exciting evening. For me, I'm sure for you, Inka, and everybody else here.
I just want to say I'm so happy that you're joining me here on stage to help me honor the women here of UN Women's Philippines Awards. It's such a pleasure to have you as an ally with us.
Thank you. Every time we say that, I just want to say, let's give it up for the ladies. Let's go, ladies.
Yes, indeed.
That's going to be my role here tonight, okay? Here we go.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is definitely going to be a night to remember. Now, besides the regular categories, we will be awarding a new category at tonight's ceremony.
Additionally, we will be launching a new program from UN Women. This is
So exciting. Yes.
the Gender Action Lab.
Yes.
And this initiative aims to foster private sector innovations and concretize actions that advance gender equality and women's empowerment, building more inclusive economies across the region.
Yes, we will also be introducing new signatories of the Women Empowerment Principles, or the WEPs, symbolizing their powerful pledge to champion gender equality across all facets of business. We're talking within the workplace, in the marketplace, in the community, and everywhere else.
In all the places, Inka.
All the places.
Let's put them all in, okay? We're all about inclusivity here, okay? And to officially start our program, we planned for Mr. Gustavo Gonzalez, resident coordinator of the UN Philippines, to deliver our welcome remarks. However, due to prior work commitments, he wasn't able to join us today. But instead, we are very, very fortunate to have the head of the UN Resident Coordinator's Office in the Philippines here to deliver the welcome remarks on his behalf. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Mr. Mattia Kovac. Good evening.
Good evening. Excellent pronunciation of my name. Thank you.
Thank you. We practiced it. Thank you. Thank you.
So, gender equality champions, allow me to start with that, and I'll just say all protocol observed. Good evening. It is really my great pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the UN Resident Coordinator, Gustavo Gonzalez, to the 2024 Philippines Women's Empowerment Principles Awards and the launch of the Gender Action Lab, supported by the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. R.C. Gonzalez recalls that the first time he met the key champions of these awards was during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, and it was one of the first initiatives he took on as the UN Philippines Resident Coordinator, so he really regrets that he's not able to join you today. But fast forward to today, and on its third installment already, this ceremony really remains a testament to the incredible efforts of the private sector in promoting gender equality and women's economic empowerment. It is really inspiring to see that our work together in advancing gender equality is really progressing so rapidly. Just last week, we welcome the 15-point Women's Workers Agenda, which will help us rethink our approaches to current and future labor challenges through gender-based perspectives in the Philippines. Tonight, we have the privilege to honor the best practices from the private sector that address the critical inequalities experienced by women in the workplace. This is the kind of multilateral and multi-partner approach that we really need to foster so that development remains inclusive and sustainable. We must maintain this strong momentum for our workers and especially women. Our joint mission, which is also at the core of the United Nations, is really to create an inclusive and equitable workplace where every woman and every girl can thrive, leaving, as you know, no one behind. It is deeply rooted in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and all 17 Sustainable Development Goals, but particularly the SDG 5, to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Colleagues, gender equality is a cross-cutting goal in all of the SDGs. Progress in any goal is inseparably linked to advances in gender equality. And this is fully embedded also in the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework 24-28, which the United Nations in the Philippines signed with the government last year to align our country team interventions with the acceleration of the SDGs. The framework outlines our strategic vision jointly with the government and the priorities in the Philippines. It emphasizes inclusive, human-centered approach and highlights the importance of gender equality and women's economic empowerment as key drivers of sustainable development. You know best that women's economic empowerment can transform households, can uplift communities, and drive national development. This ripple effect strengthens the fabric of our society. And that is why it is fundamental for us to support opportunities and initiatives where women can fully participate in the economy. And this goes beyond fairness. It is about tapping into the vast reservoir of talent and creativity that women represent. And this is what we are celebrating tonight with the awards. The Women's Empowerment Principles were developed through a partnership between UN Women and the UN Global Compact. It is a robust framework that guides businesses in fostering gender equality within their respective organizations. Tonight, we are recognizing exemplary efforts of companies and individuals who have adopted these principles, proving that gender equality and women's economic empowerment are catalysts for economic and social transformation. We honor those who have gone above and beyond, and your leadership and dedication serve as an inspiration to all of us. You demonstrate that gender equality is not just an aspirational goal, but a tangible, business-critical reality. We are thrilled to witness the rapid growth in the WEP community in the Philippines, many of whom are here tonight. We are really proud to see that we are building a strong alliance, and in the Asia Pacific alone, the signatories have grown four times from 2019 to 2024. We should take full advantage of this strong momentum. As mentioned earlier, we are also launching the UN Women's new transformative initiative, the Gender Action Lab, which is a dynamic platform where we can identify, advocate, and scale up multi-stakeholder interventions to really introduce reforms for women in the labor sector. We hope it will serve as a jump-off point for the private sector, the government, and other key partners to transform commitments into concrete action. I encourage everyone to explore and make the most of the Gender Action Lab. This is our opportunity to work together and introduce meaningful change that will benefit women in the workplace. It goes without saying that the United Nations in the Philippines remains committed and enthusiastic to supporting all our partners in these endeavors. While not everyone will be an award winner tonight, please remember that you are all champions. Your active stance in support of leaving no one behind is already the biggest win. You drive the lasting change that we need. Thank you very much and have a wonderful night.
All right, thank you so much, Mattia. He was mentioning, I heard it correctly, like the Gender Action Lab, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I just noticed now, Gender Action Lab. That's GAL. That's GAL.
GAL.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was it? Did they plan that? It seems to fit perfectly, right?
It does.
It's just swell. I love it. I love it. Let's bring an applause for Mattia, please. Palakpakan po natin siya. Thank you so much for officially opening today's event and for delivering those very, very insightful remarks.
Yes, and now to share her opening remarks, please welcome on stage the officer in charge, program coordinator of the UN Women Philippines. Please welcome Ms. Athena Denise Galao.
Hi, thanks Inka.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Magandang gabi po. Magandang gabi. Gutom na tayo? Konti. Pero magandang gabi po. Salamat po sa pagdalo ngayong gabi. Alam ko, you brave traffic. Some of you are from... Talaga naman si Ma'am. Ate Agnes. No, but thank you so much for being here. I'm standing in very big shoes because our program coordinator, Len Messina, who should have been here, is in her home and recovering well. But in behalf of the whole UN Women team, it has really been a privilege to be working closely with a lot of you to really drive action. So let me just say that tonight, it's not just a celebration, right? It's also a call to action to drive more and harness the positive energy that the private sector can deliver on gender equality. So my background is not private sector engagement, so that's not my background. My background is on climate and disasters. So all of us know that the country has been experiencing series of typhoons in the last month. How many? Does anyone know? Yes, 6. It's 6 typhoons back to back, unprecedented typhoons. So what it does tell us is that there are so much growing challenges. Climate crises, you have economic uncertainty, social inequalities, and our ability to respond to resilience and innovation is more critical than ever. So having said that, because we were just having a discussion in our small room earlier about having the intersection of gender equality and climate, and what we see now is that we don't have to work in silos, and this has to be done hand in hand because gender equality is really fundamental and a lever for sustainability, as Mattia also mentioned. So, but we know, of course, that a lot of the barriers exist. I mean, but not in this room, I guess, because we're predominantly women in this room, but of course we have our men allies. But there are still challenges that exist, and our partners from PCW does have a lot of data on it. But having said that, there is really a need to really strengthen that, bridge that action gap. And we have an opportunity. So the WEPs Awards is one of those things that we really can drive a little bit of push, or actually not a little, further push. So the WEPs principles provides a framework for embedding gender equality across value chains, from the workplace to the marketplace to the communities. I know that's the tagline of WEPs, so you probably heard that so many times being here. So just to report back, over 2,000 companies in Asia has been engaged in the WEPs, and there's many more that's being included. And tonight, we do celebrate their bold actions and recognize their leadership and commitment to advance women's economic empowerment. But also tonight, it's a back-to-back night because we have the WEPs Award, and Inka was talking about GAL. Yeah, it is named GAL, and obviously it's UN Women, no? So you kind of know why it's GAL. So it is a bold initiative supported by our partners from DFAT. And of course, we don't stop at awards. We really anticipate and really look at continuously engaging in more robust actions and best practices that can be replicated. We always hear the word replicate and scalable because that's what we need to do now. I mean, we do our pilots, but we really need to scale up because the challenges are massive. I just want to really thank our partners, DFAT, IBPAP, PBC WE, I know you are there somewhere. Our people from RCO, thank you, Matia. Our Chair Ernie from PCW, you have always been steadfast in supporting the work on gender equality in the country and really have been instrumental in bringing the Philippines' voice across the region and globally. So I will not take much more of your time because I know you're pretty hungry, but I think we do have a clear path amongst us towards a goal. And of course, as being a climate DRR person, I would say together, we can transform resilience, you probably hear that buzzword a lot, into an actual lived reality for businesses, communities, and for our women on the ground. Thank you, and let's continue to lead with purpose, courage, and a tad of innovation. Thank you so much, and it's a long night, guys. Over.
All right, thank you so much, Athena, for that inspiring message and for kicking things off as well.
Yes,
Nika?
what a lovely way to open tonight's ceremonies. And now, moving on to another one. To deliver her special remarks, we are honored to be graced by one of the staunch advocates for gender equality. Her Excellency, Australian Ambassador to the Philippines, HKU. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you so much. We've got the hosts with the most, don't we? Haven't they been fabulous? Magandang gabi sa inyo lahat, everyone. It's great to see in the crowd some very familiar gender equality warriors, my peers, as well as some new faces. Welcome and well done, actually, for being here tonight. The Australian government is absolutely delighted to be able to partner with UN Women for this very important initiative, the launch of the Gender Action Lab, and in Australia we'd say GALS, right? As well as awarding the WEPs, because that is a really important thing for us to do here. We have to pause and learn how to celebrate our successes. And we also, in the process, have to reflect on what it is that we are celebrating. Gender equality is a priority for Australia, no question about it, as both a fundamental human rights issue, but also because it's absolutely critical to achieving the kind of world that we want to live in. And this is important because, you know, often there is a bit of warm fuzziness when we talk about achieving gender equality and getting our pay gaps narrowed. But it's actually not a warm fuzzy issue. It's fundamental to actually tackling the major challenges the world faces today. We cannot afford for our leaders and our business leaders as well to say, you know, we've got so many problems like climate change, conflict, potential trade war, that we don't have time for gender equality. Because that would be a very wrong way of thinking about gender equality and what it is that we are here to do today. Gender equality is the pathway to solution for those problems. Without the half of the world's population putting their minds, putting their bodies, putting their effort into solving those problems, because we get the equal right at the table as our counterparts in men, well, guess what? The world is going to be only half able to solve the problems. That's really what we are talking about here today. Australia and the Philippines, we are actually world leaders when it comes to gender equality. The latest report shows, this is the gender gap report in fact, that Australia went up 19 places from 43rd to now 24th. And yet, even in Australia, our national gender pay gap remains at an unacceptable 12%. 12%. Women get paid 12% less than men for doing exactly the same job in Australia. In the Philippines, the same report shows that you dropped to 25th place from 19th in 2022. And female labour force participation has also stagnated over the past 20 years and is now lower than most of your neighbours at only 47.3%. So as you can see, we still have a lot of work to do. Now, the Australian government is absolutely committed to taking action at home and in the Philippines for our wonderful friends, partners, and neighbours. In Australia, we recently introduced a new policy requiring employers with 100 workers or more to publish gender pay gaps. Because you know what they say, you measure what really matters, and it will change their behaviour. In the Philippines, we have recently launched the Australia-Philippines Development Partnership Plan to support the Philippine government's ambition to intensify your efforts to promote gender equality. And this plan sets out a framework for 5 years. So we're not here as a fleeting friend. As you know, we are here to stay. We have been here for a long time, and we are going to stay for a long time. So this is what this is all about. And so since 2021, Australia has been proud to partner with UN Women to implement the Women's Empowerment Principles, otherwise known as WEPs. And we are also thrilled to support the establishment of GAL. But government cannot change the dial on gender equality alone. And that's why it is so wonderful to see so many of you from the business sector here tonight. And I can see my friend Joy Cott there as well in the audience. As a major employer and part of the economy, the private sector has a vital role in addressing gender equality in the workplace and promoting women's economic empowerment globally. Just think about the power you have in how you are able to set the tone in your workplace about what gender equality means to your business and to working together. That is really empowering stuff. And this is exactly what we need to happen for us to really get to the crux of what we're talking about today. So, you know, the business case for workplace gender equality is also clear, right? You are a bunch of really smart people. You've done your sums. And you know that gender equality equals better business profitability. But not everyone is as smart as you. And as a result of that, there are a bunch of businesses that are missing out on this opportunity. So much so that in fact, McKinsey Global Institute reported that if women and men participated equally in the economy, as much as $28 trillion US dollars, just think about that, $28 trillion US dollars could be added to our global GDP by 2025. And you know, that's an annual figure. So that's what we are talking about here. And we need to encourage the rest of the business sector to jump on this. right? Because not only is it the right thing to do, it's a smart thing to do. And so this is why tonight is so important. We recognize those that are contributing significantly to advancing gender equality, and we celebrate the new ones that has seen the light and is actually signing up to WEPs as the new signatories. So it's an exciting evening. But as you all know, our work only starts now. It doesn't end here. We all have to remember that we've got a huge task ahead of us. Because as I said, we're in an important juncture where if not careful, we could actually undo all the great work we've been doing to achieve the gains that we have achieved on gender equality. Because the global world, the world we live in is a really tough one right now. There's so much conflict everywhere you turn. And on top of that, the climate change impacts, the food shortage that comes from that, as well as energy insecurity, all of those things are compounding on all of us. So it's really, really easy for some to say, let's not worry about gender equality. That's why we, the champions, have to work doubly, triply as hard to say, gender equality is what will lead us to the solutions we need. Gender equality is what will lead us to the region, to the world that we want to live in. One that is peaceful, stable, and prosperous. So guys, let's work towards that together. Maraming salamat po, and mabuhay.
Thank you so much, Ambassador HK, for your moving words. It's true. What we're doing here is we're creating ripples that'll keep growing and growing. And hopefully, again, people will see that it's not just the right thing to do, it is the smart thing to do.
Some interesting things. I agree, Anka. It's a smart thing to do. And you know what? I just like to applaud UN Women and everyone who put this event together and events like this together. Because to me, this is new information. You know what I mean?
You're learning. That's great.
I'm learning. No, this is new information. For example, first of all, I love what you said earlier on that we measure what matters, right? And a management principle also is you can't manage what you can't measure.
Yeah.
So when she mentioned the 28 trillion USD added to global GDP
By 2025.
for me, my first reaction is, okay, whoa. That'll go a long way. But next is how, right?
Yeah.
So I'm so interested to get into the nitty-gritty of it. And speaking of which, to share with us the power of the women empowerment principles, we welcome this Filipina entrepreneur and author and one of the earliest champions of the web since 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, please put our hands together for Miss Risa Manangkil Trillo.
Thanks so much. Good evening, everyone. It's an absolute honor to be here and to share the power of the women empowerment principles, especially in the local landscape. As an entrepreneur, my journey with UN Women Philippines began in 2020 amidst the uncertainty of the global pandemic. So during this challenging time, women, especially Filipinas, were facing unprecedented challenges economically, emotionally, and physically. UN Women Philippines stepped up by creating safe spaces and support systems for women through online platforms. It was in this context that I began my work with them, and it became clear how crucial gender-responsive action guided by the women empowerment principles truly is. Launched in 2010 by UN Women and the UN Global Compact, the WEPs are an internationally recognized framework that empowers businesses to advance gender equality in the workplace, marketplace, and community. So these 7 principles are more than just guidelines. They're a call to action for companies to lead the way in building inclusive, equitable environments. As I've worked with UN Women over the years, I've seen firsthand the collective impact we can achieve. At the WEPs Forum last year, over 150 participants from across the region gathered in Manila to exchange ideas, strategies, and solutions. And for me, one important message stood out. Equality is everyone's business. From corporate leaders to employees, every individual plays a role in shaping a gender-equal future. Last March, I also had the honor of visiting the UN headquarters in New York during the CSW 68, or Commission on the Status of Women. It was a transformative 2-week experience to see global leaders collectively tackle gender equality. One key takeaway for me was how critical the private sector's role is in achieving these goals. 90% of the impact in this fight comes from the private sector. So that's a staggering number, and it just shows how much businesses can accomplish when they embrace frameworks like the WEPs. Personally, as a mother, equality in the workplace matters because work life and home life are interconnected. The quality of life we experience at work inevitably affects our families and communities. So when companies commit to creating safe and inclusive workspaces, they aren't just empowering individuals. They're strengthening society as a whole. And this year, I had the big honor of being one of the judges for the WEPs Awards, and through the submissions, I saw firsthand how companies have adopted these principles. Every entry that we reviewed was a win for gender equality. It showed us that businesses are not just capable of change, but also driving it. So that's why I believe in the power of WEPs. They're not just a set of principles. They're a way to measure progress, set targets, and hold ourselves accountable. Whether it's through gender-responsive marketing, supplier diversity, or supporting women in leadership, the WEPs offers businesses a clear path to creating impact. I know for many business leaders, the WEPs can seem overwhelming at first. I mean, where do you even start? But the WEPs aren't just about making big sweeping changes. They're about committing to small, intentional steps that create safe, inclusive, and equitable workplaces. So this work isn't just about individual achievements. It's about envisioning our collective impact. When we work together, businesses, communities, and individuals, we create a ripple effect that transforms lives and opportunities. So let me leave you with a call to action if you aren't a signatory yet. By signing the Women Empowerment Principles or encouraging your CEO to champion gender equality within your organization. Because equality is everyone's business. And when we all take part, we create a world where opportunity knows no gender. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Risa. And you touched on something earlier on that we're really going to be kind of talking about a lot over and over later on, which is equality means business. Okay, think EMB. You're going to say this later. You might want to remember that. Okay.
Yes.
Equality means business. And as we mentioned earlier on, this is going to be an exciting event because in the next phase of our program right now, we're going to be launching a transformative initiative, the UN Women Gender Action Lab.